Alrighty, thanks for coming back. This is what it looks like. We've got it pushed out on the rocks. We can call this a roller now. And the reason we can call it a roller because you can push it and it'll roll on its own. Come on over, let's take a look at the rear end, how I got it put in. I'm not sure if Jolene showed that on a video yet or not. Please don't stumble, we know what that looks like. Haha. Jolene looks amazing today, like she always does. Your hair's getting some long. You can see down by the axle where I've put that little piece in. I've cut it, one of the plates there, I cut it in half, and I put that U-bolt down through it. And that's how I U-bolt it and probably weld it. I boxed the frame in with 1/8 plate. I'm probably going to gusset the plate that the U-bolt goes down through. What I mean by gusset is a triangle that will hold it from ripping off in any way. I've got the rear end basically in place. We'll come through the back windows, baby. I was looking at it this morning. You can see how I 45'd. So you can see how I 45'd the pieces on the thing. So it comes down, sits on the floor. Did the one on the other side. And it's like that in the front. Come down here so you can see it where I got the vice grips on it, up in the front there. You can see them ones there. That's how it sits on that square stock. And what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now is there's going to have to be a sill put in this car. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld a flat piece of metal on from the square tubing underneath here, from over to this place here, and then we'll have our sill that'll be filled in from the bottom of the car. So you can just see a piece of metal come from here, from this square stock to here, welding along this edge and welding along that edge. You can grind it off if you want to. That'll fill that all the way up to the front. When we open the door, we'll be able to make just a 90. We'll slide it in the whole door. We'll mark it off the front side where we like it, and then we'll butt weld it to the edge of the bottom of the door, and we'll just cap the whole bottom of the door off. It does not need a lip on the edge. Does not need to. Does not need to, far as I know. And then from there on in, we'll fill it in with panels to make it so we can set on it. But that's basically what's going on and what it looks like. I seen there was a comment on there. They like the chop, they like the sectioning, they like the shortening, cutting the bottom off, but they can't stand the way it looks. That's basically, what's that? The stance, yeah, whatever. It basically, that's what it comes down to when I'm building a car. I do not do, or try not to do, what someone else has already done. I try to take from what someone else has done and just go a little bit further. Where this car is going to be our 8th mile race car, Jolene's 8th mile race car, I really feel like this could have been built for that because of all the metal being cut off and all that sort of stuff. So that's all I'm thinking. And also the gasser style. I'm just, watch yourself, sweetheart. I'm just thinking that, it could have been. And it's something that no one's ever built before that looks like this, I don't think. I don't think anybody's took a 2-door 35, 36 Ford and gassered it and put, I don't think anybody's ever done that before. And that's why I'm doing the project. That's basically why I'm doing it. And also, it proves to me that's what freedom's called. That's what freedom is. I have the freedom to put anything on that car I want to because it's my project. And I'm hoping that it motivates you to let you know that you can do anything you want to your project. Anything. You do not have to do what someone else says. This is freedom at its greatest. As we're doing this, we get to do it the way we want to. We get to use the materials that are around. We're not spending a bunch of money. I did spend some money yesterday. What did I have to buy? I had to buy some dry shaft tubing. So once we get the drive shaft in it, steering, we'll just cut steering off the frame over there. We get the brakes. Well, we won't need brakes for a while. But we'll get the dry shaft tube. We'll get the steering put on. Get it connected a little bit better. Basically, what I'm going to have to do is get it up on the hoist, take it down, up, down 3 or 4 more times to get everything to where I want it. And then I'll apply the body to the floor. I do not want to apply the body to the floor until it's done because I don't want to climb in and outside of that car all the time. Don't want to do it. I feel like I do it that way instead. So I picked my times. Where it's rolling right now, I just want to let it set there, take a look at it, what I'm going to do to it. Am I going to section the grill 10 inches like I did the body? Am I going to section that? Obviously the grill's not laying on there right, it's laying right back on the fan. You can see that some of the engine is back inside the car. Not sure if they would have done that in that time where I've changed the wheelbase. I was watching, it's just something I've never done before. And to be honest with you, it's not the best looking 36 Ford or 35 Ford I've ever seen either. It's not, but it's not about that. It's about building something that I'm thinking is trying to be the light as possible and go down the track as fast as possible. You think about it now, we've got the fenders ripped off it, we got the running boards ripped off it, we've got no springs in the rear end of it, we've got like it's just as bare bones as possibly as we can get. We're trying to make it as fast as we can for Jolene, man. Jolene. But today, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that set there for a little bit. I like looking at it. It's nowhere's near nothing yet. It is a roller. I can roll it back and forth. I can bring it in and play with it, do whatever I want with it. That's not what I'm going to do right now. Basically, I'm not pulling the rear end out of that truck by myself. We got the rear end yesterday. That was a workout. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. That was a workout. But I had fun doing it. And that's part of the building the car, you know, going back and doing that and getting that done. I felt good going to bed at night. I did. Slept like a baby. Woke up and seen Jolene. She woke up at 8, looking like a 10. She said, "Would you like a coffee?" And I said, "Most certainly would." We have a coffee in bed every morning, don't we, baby? Basically, what's going on, I'm going to do right now for this video is I'm going to sand this hood. I've already sanded this one side. I did a DA, a 10-inch DA on the whole thing. That's how I did it, sanded off with a DA. If you want to come over and take a look at it, let's take a look at it and go over it. I'm seeing metal everywhere. I'm really close. Don't like hitting that much metal, but I'm hitting that much metal. We're really close. This is a 40 grit. I still want to sand it with an 80 grit before I prime it. So that means there's more coming off. And sometimes when you get down that far, you start showing metal, and then you've got that chance of that edge appearing in your paint or whatever. You've got a chance. Right here you can see where it's sanded. I've held the sander flat the whole time. I could have angled a little bit and took it out, but no, you don't do that. I'd keep going flat till I hit the bare metal, and I have to put more. There has to be more filler put in that. Let's remember now, I sanded that all off, and the metal work on that was, to me, was excellent. Like, it was excellent. It was not warped up, it wasn't whatever. It felt really good. So basically what I'm doing is just making everything come to a flood. Everything is the ocean floor, is the metal, and we want to make it so you cannot see any of that, and we want it just like glass. You can see up in here in the top where this hood was welded together. There's a piece that come in here, and it was a peak from the hood that was off the 49 Merc. We welded it on there, and you can see on this side, I'm hitting bare metal over here. I'm hitting bare metal here, I'm hitting bare metal there. I'm getting close in there. I got bare metal right there. You can see it right through the filler. That's how thin it is. I can still see bare metal. But it's got a low spot there where I'm sanding that. I'm hitting there and there and there, and I've got a low spot there where that welded on. That's a good thing, because so I can cover it up. If it was high, watch yourself, baby. Watch yourself, baby. If it was high, I'd have to grind it off or beat it down to put filler in it. So I enjoy that it's down a little bit. Just put a little more filler on it. Also, let's remember, there's round stock welded all the way along here. All the way along here. The hood has been welded down the center from here, from the center. We've welded it all the way across the side. We've welded it all the way across the bottom and all the way down through the front. So basically, I'm telling you that the quickest way that I have found, if there's that much welding on something that you've just made, jump in and give it a flood. Just put the flood on it and let it dry, and sand it with something that's quick and fast. I like a DA with a 40 grit. I'm going to turn the air compressor on. I'll be right back. I really like coming into the shop in the morning and seeing the Jolene's Bugatti chassis, and coming in and looking in the paint room. There's a Bugatti in there, and then the truck that you see that we're building. It's enjoyable to come in and take a look at it every morning. It's not as most enjoyable as like I see Jolene in the morning, but it's enjoying to look at that stuff when you come in the morning. I really like visuals. I really like visuals. So I come in the morning, I like to look at that. I really do. And I always take a look at the Bugatti. The plastic's coming down now. It's just nice to see. You know, it's still there. And I still think about it daily, because I come in and look at it daily. There's one in behind I was playing with, having all kinds of fun I am. Watch yourself, baby. I'm all nervous that Jolene's going to fall down now that I seen that little piece she had. But basically what I'm going to do is I could get some oil, put in that sander. I got a 10-inch orbital sander, and it's got a big pad on it, and I'm going to hold it flat, and I'm going to show you how I sand that off and what I'm going to do to fix and make it ready for primer. And basically what I want to tell you is I go no further than 80 grit with filler. I find that any further than 80 grit with filler, it starts polishing it, making it wavy. 40-80 for me, 40-80, 40-80 for me, and then it's primer. So if you have something like this, I would hope, as I explained before, I think it's been a very good job. All the way down through the center has been welded, all the way along the edge has been welded, all the way along the side has been welded, all the way down around the bottom has been welded, up the back has been welded. I couldn't ask to be welded anymore. This hood is very strong and not warped at all, but I still have to cover it, give it a flood to make it look like something. I have to remind everybody, there's nobody that's welding up and building a car, making a car like that, making something, and not putting filler on it. Does it matter? Does it matter? Yeah, it doesn't matter to me, so I hope it doesn't matter to you, as long as you make yourself happy. This makes me happy to be able to make something that no one's ever seen before. You would never hold yourself back because someone does not like it. That's none of your business. Right? It's none of my business if no one likes it. It's up to me if I like it. And I hope that people, I have to get a name for everybody that watches. I hope the Hiltz clan realizes that in order to make yourself happy, you must do it your way. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. She saves me all the time, boys. Saves me all the time. Basically, I'm holding this flat. If you want to come up here with me, sweetheart, for a minute, you want to see? Can you see? Basically, I'm holding this thing flat. I'm holding this thing flat, rubbing it on there, rubbing it everywhere. And I can tell right the present moment, this is the highest place of the flood. Flood is the body fill. It's the highest place. So I'm going to stay there, sort of, and keep running along that area quickly. I don't want to stay in one spot. I got to run along quickly, back and forth, crash, just like you were doing a block. But you have to remember, this is like a paint gun. When you come to the end or go to another panel, you must let off the pressure or you're going to double up on that panel. So you have to realize if I'm going over here and staying here, I'm going to be driving that flood down quicker than the rest of it. So you really have to make sure you're on the move with this thing to make it work good for you. And if you don't, you can, whatever. If you start angling it at all, you've just caused yourself a problem in your flood. And I also like to put lots on, because then that way there I have something to work with. If I just skimmed that a little bit and started sanding it, I'd be wasting my time. And my time is valuable because I like to spend it with Jolene. We're at close to metal right there already. I'm allowed to sand anywhere that looks like that or looks like that. Let's try to stay away from that. That's getting very close to metal. It is metal. I'm just going back and forth like I would a block. Crisscross, holding it flat though. I got to pull that bench a little closer. It feels like I'm doing the dishes. Hurt my back. You think I do? Baby say you do the dishes. She got me, boy. Nice to sand this stuff outdoors when I can. The truck needs to be all gone over again. I got it cut down really close, but it needs to be gone over. There's pinholes after pinholes. It still needs to be gone over. All the tight stuff around the headlights have to be done, around the tail lights. I wished I would have, hindsight's 20/20, you know. Didn't know where I was going at the present time, but I wished I would have ground that roof off and got that ready before I set that way up in the air, but it is what it is. You cannot cry over spilt milk. You can, but it won't do you no good. Looking good. Come up here for a sec, baby. Take it. Oh, see this spot right here? We got a low spot going in here. This is a low spot of a flood. Have not hit metal yet on that little peak going up there that we welded on. But that is where we welded the piece on. But as I see that, I cannot just go there and sand that and say, yeah, it's good. I have to continue on sanding the rest of this equally to get that. if that makes sense. I hope it does. There's some there too. I can't just stay there and stay there and stay there and try to get that. I have to make sure that I keep going doing the whole panel until I get close to a metal sewing somewhere, or that's gone. So basically it's not, yeah, once it gets this far, you still have to take the flood down all together to get that. Got to continue taking it off. That way there I'll have on what I need. But I have to wait until the ocean floor appears until I stop. I've got a little spot weld, I think, in the center of that cross member. I think there's a little spot weld there. It's coming through, a little piece of metal where I welded the cross member through. I can see it right there. So I'm going to stay away from that a little bit because that's poking up. That's the ocean floor. Come take a look. Got metal showing, metal showing, metal showing, metal showing, metal showing. Little spot right there. That means there's a dent there. No metal yet, so I can't stop. Well, I can stop, but I don't want it. I'm going to grab a new pad, swipe that off. You can take a look at it if you want, Jolene. I like taking the pads off with the heat gun. That way there the sticky stuff comes off. Yeah, this is freedom, man. Freedom! Do whatever you want. You know, where can you go and go and pile trucks and cars on top of each other? Huh? That's freedom right there, bye. And the adventure to get it done is called, yeah, it's called enjoyment for me. Enjoyment. And I think the little race cars it's wearing on me. You know, I mean, as you know, it does not have to be the norm for me to like it. It can be what can I say? It can be anything, long as everything that I look at is, you know, prosecuted or executed well. So, you know, if you like the chop, you like the thing, you like everything, you just don't like how it's put together. That's all right, though, man. That's all right. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it, baby? I behold you then. Come take a look now, please, if you want to. This is what it's about, I guess. I've got metal showing right here. Not going to sand that anymore. That's the first metal I got showing. That's the round rod weld along the edge. We got a little place low in the flood. Gonna repair that on the next one. Got a little low place in the flood. Not going to go near that anymore. Gonna come back here. Got dirt off. On this edge, I like to do it by hand after I go over with this thing. But I'm going to run this thing straight along a few times, just trying to get it straight. And then I'll go over it like I use a block to get it not so it's hexagon. I like to try to get it straight. That's why I'm rubbing it this way. And it'll make it hexagon. Yes, it will. But I like to get it straight before I round it. So if it's straight, and then I can round it. Well, we have someone knocking at the door. Have someone knocking at the door. Don't know if we have someone knocking at the door or not, but I gotta continue on. I gotta continue on. Now you can see I hit metal there, so now I got to start rounding that thing off because that's the metal. How you doing, Dano? Didn't hear the dog bark because Dan has treats in his pockets. I know it. See if I can get it. That's all. And this is where we have the thing coming down the point, the peak, and then we have the square tubing weld on each side. You must admit, I must get it straight before I can get it round, you know? Come on. You must admit. Metal. Got to slow down there. Dan, come go to work. Thanks, Dan. Just like working at a flour mill. Take a little bit off my hand. Looking pretty good for one coat of filler. Metal, 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 metal. I can take a little more off the top maybe. Let's see how the top sides turn out. I still need filler down here. You can see where it's welded on. I still have to cover that. Cutting, going this way now, cut better. Holding it flat will tell you all. See? We've got metal showing there, a little bit of metal. What?
It's hard to see.
Okay. Yep. Can we rotate it? Whoop, whoop. Let's rotate it. Alrighty. So I got metal, metal, metal. Little tiny bit there, right? Little tiny, not enough in the flood. Little tiny bit there. Not going to bother. This is the edge where it's still welded. Haven't got any on there really. Still has to be put more on. But you can see we're flat nose. We're at metal, metal. We got a little bit here on the edge. That will save that for some, not some good sandpaper, some poopy sandpaper, because it's on the edge and we can use it that way. But I just got to continue on up the front here, and then we'll look it all over. Or I can show you what I do after that. Haven't done that step yet, have I, baby? Haven't done that step yet. Look at my vice grip, see if it's okay. It's okay. A car will always look better if the fill is higher than if it's lower. What I'm saying is, if there's more fill on than it needs, it will still look better than a car that does not have enough. And what it means, the body fill will be high, the flood can be high. The car will look better than if the car is low. Hope that makes sense. I'm going to have to put a little filler on that and get a little low spot. That's where you welded that. Remember, we put some weld in there. Still needs a little bit, and that's okay. That's okay. How long have we got, baby? What? 41? All right, I'm just going to show, I'll show a little something here. What I'll do is I'll blow it off, and then I will take and show you how I'm going to apply some more mud on it. And what I mean by apply more mud is I'm going to put some more mud in the places that are low. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how I do it. And we all must agree, I'll explain it here in a second. The less I have to sand the hood to make it look good is the quickest way. Less I have to sand. So what I'm saying is I've got one cover of mud on it. I've sanded it once, and I'm basically where the shape needs to be. I am low in a couple of places. I can take more of that off, obviously. I should probably take some more of that off. I have a few low places in it. Yes, I do. So what I would do is I'm going to mix some more mud up. I'll put it in my low-lying areas of my flood. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing, what I do with my fiberglass filler. And the reason this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some resin to it because there's a ton of pinholes in this hood. There's a ton of pinholes, and I want to get as many as I can, but I do not want to add a whole bunch of filler where I have to sand a whole bunch. All I really want to do is just add enough to get the pinholes. I usually do that after I prime, but let's face it, I've done the whole hood in filler. There's pinholes over the whole hood. So I'll take a little of my time before I prime, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I got to sand this off. Yeah. Bless you, sweetheart. Bless you. A little rough spot there. Just want to take a little more off because it had too much. I think I might put the original hood, if I can find it, the original hood emblem back on it, what 49 Merc is. I think I'll do that. All right, let's blow it off again. Watch yourself, baby. I'm gonna dust it. That is very straight. That is very straight. The only reason I wouldn't prime that is because of that, and a few little places I could add some mud in down around the bottom. That'd be the only reason I wouldn't mud that or prime that. Idiot. But where I'm not going to, I got a few places I want to fix. I'll do a couple things beside that, just to show how I'm going to do it. How I'm going to do it. Well, we don't need that much. Don't need that much. Probably don't even need that much. I'm just used to putting too much on, basically, so I have enough. And I'm going to leave that. I'm going to put a little filler on here. Get me much hardener left. I might get one load of thin down body fill to show you. I'm going to make this hard, put it in my low spots. So I'm mixing this a little bit up here to put in low spots of the flood right now. I think it's really good, most of it actually. Like I said, I'd prime it, but a few more places I got to fix. The less times you have to come over here and do this, the faster it gets done. Believe me. I hope it doesn't go hard before I get it on there. Sun's out. It's hot. Sometimes it's hard just to get in the places that you need it. Yes, it is. So all I'm trying to do is get in the place they need it. Haha. Where'd that go? On the other side. Oh. Need some on the front, do I? All right, got enough. I got enough, man. Alrighty, so I got a little bit of hardener left. Oh, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. I got a little bit of hardener left over here, so I show you what I'm going to do to finish it. So what has happened there, I've just put more body fill on, more flood on, to bring it up to the rest of the flood that's on the hood. Yes, I have. Now what I'm going to do is, there's a bunch of pinholes. There's a bunch of pinholes in that, and I really don't feel like sanding just them spots. I don't feel like doing that. I'd rather cover the whole hood and sand it all as one, and that's how I'd like to do it. So my plan is, this is my plan. I'm going to use this, some resin and some hardener, and I'm going to thin it out and try to just skim it just ever so slightly. That wasn't so good, was it? Whatever. That's how you reuse body fill dust. I'm just going to thin it out. I like to get my pinholes after I prime, but everything's looking so good so quickly that I would prime that hood. After one swipe, one flood, I'd prime it probably, except in little spots. I can mix it a little bit thinner. Don't know if I need it any thinner. So I'll just put this one batch on to show you. That's the hardener I've got left. Really nice and thin. I'm going to do it all. Thin as I can get her on there, and the reason being is I don't need filler, I need pinhole coverage. The sun is probably not the best place to do this. I know it's not actually. I know. Dry on me. I wonder if I get any hardener around to continue on. Basically, that's what I'll do. I'll skim coat it like that. I'll do the whole thing. I get some hardener, and then I will sand it probably with an 80 grit and be done with it. And that'll cover 80% of my pinholes. And what has not been gotten with the after I prime it, that's when I'll get them. So I can do this. I'm not sure if I gain more hardener, do I? I can take a looky poo. Do I have any more hardener? I think I might have. I do. Ha! Let's do a little bit more. Want to do a little more? Put a little more on? I may as well. Cover it up for me and you. So I'll just do a little bit more. Got to be careful when you're mixing it too. When I'm doing it outside here, when I'm doing it outside, it can really dry fast. So I have to be careful. Always mix that up. If you don't mix it up, it ends up coming out as liquid, and it's not mixed, obviously. Digging my filler out. So when the old filler gets dry, you just bad chad it. Yeah, so we'll just call you all the bad chads out there. Not the Hiltz clan. We ain't no clan. Just all the bad chads out there, you know what I mean? All the bad chads are here. If you do, just grab your body fill, thin it out with your resin. You just bad chatted it. kind of making do. Don't get me wrong, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Yes, there is. But I find that putty, when you sand it with finer sandpapers, it's harder to get straight than it is sanding with coarser papers. And I'm willing to bet on it that it's easier to get mud straight with 40 grit than it is a putty with a 120 or a 220. Like, no comparison. Or even an 80, I guess, would be fine. Nice and thin. Touch. So this is my second going over the hood. I have not, I've just filled it out once, laid a bunch of fill on it, laid it out once, sanded it once, found it where everything was. I went over there and applied more filler in the places that were low in the flood. Now I am skim coating it with filler to get pinholes to finish it off. Finish it off. I'm just putting that on there as thin as possible. Not looking for thickness. I'm looking for pinholes. Ah. So I lay that on there, it seems to have dried, doesn't it? It seems like once I go to go over it again, it doesn't want to. Probably the wrong place to be doing it is outside, but I'm having fun. Even though I'm not applying this mud for filler, I still want to get it on even so I can sand it off even. Oh, that makes sense. Alrighty. Alrighty, let's go get some more. Get some more. So after this, after I fill this out and I sand it one more time, it should be done. And what I'm going to let you know is that if your worker sanded that hood twice, the whole thing, and made it good enough to paint, you would have to say good job. You'd have to say good job, because it takes a long time to sand filler like that. It takes a long time to, whoopsie daisy, getting carried away here, getting carried away. Yeah, I guess I'll put that much on. Talking, baby, talking. See, get carried away again. Hope we get both sides done this time. I'm using Napa auto body filler, and I'm using Napa fiberglass resin, and I'm mixing it together to make something that's thinner than normal. They both have the same catalyst, and that's what I'm doing. I'm mixing them together to make something that I'm bad chadding it. And if you want to do it, you can bad chad it too. See me sweating, and I don't like that. Trying to mix that up nice. Don't want to lose any. Oh, good stuff. I got that pretty thin, I'm telling you, mister. This probably wasn't a good mix. Probably wasn't a good mix. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's thin. It's thin. You see the thrill. I get into the other body fill. It's thin, folks. It made the other stuff act up. Aye. Guess I wanted to finish it. I don't usually do this all the time, but where this hood has treated me good with the filler that I put on it, it's not, you know, there's no real big bad spots in it. I'm able to go do it this route. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing this route. Or if it wasn't that good, the route I'd have to go is I'd have to put filler on for filler. Right now I'm putting the filler on for pinholes and get it all one layer. But this right here is not, I had a dent there somewhere, didn't I? This is for final coat. This is what this is for. It's for final coat. Means I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Yeah, better get out of it. Better get out of it. Put that on the bottom because it needs it. Never been coated yet. All right, just a little bit more and we'll have her done. Then we'll give away a hat or a shirt, babe. Then we're going to give away a hat or a shirt. That's enough right there, I'd say. That's enough right there. We'll just go easy on that. Oh, I went thin again, I did. It's all right. I got her nice and blue that time, didn't I, baby, huh? Blued her up that time. Probably a little too much. We'll let it dry all together, though. We'll let it all come to be hard, the filler, and then I'll sand it all off at once. And it'll take me probably, well, it's going to take me half the amount of time to do it this next time, because there's going to be half as much material on there. I'm not looking to get the sand material off at high places to get the flood right. I'm going to be sanding the material off for pinholes, basically. If I'm not mistaken, I'm dropping it on the ground. Don't like that, but it is what it is. I want that back. I want that filler back. Gotta get the filler on the edge of her. Yeah. No, I don't need it. So, Just if I see bare metal, I like to cover it up if possible, because if I hit bare metal first thing, then it really got to slow down, haven't you? And I don't want to slow down. Alrighty, I covered there with this, it's just as thin as I could, as fast as I could, for pinholes. They will not be gotten 100%. I don't know why I left that on there like that, but I did. I'm going to scrape that off. Not sanding that. No need. Anyways, there it is. I've thinned the mud down and applied some to the hood. I'll sand it off with an 80 grit on the orbital, on the big orbital, on an 80 grit, and that should be ready to prime for the next go. I still have the edges to do all the way around, but the outside of the hood will be ready to rock and roll. That'll be good for 2 sands. If you can get something in, 3 sands, you're doing good. If you get something in 2 sands, awesome. If you get something in 1 sand, you just bad chatted it. All right, let's give away a hat or a shirt. Where's it at? Okay. Okay, we're going to give away a hat or a shirt. Body fill on my hands and all. Just got some on the computer. I want to thank everybody for the comments. Thank everybody for watching. Thank everybody for liking and sharing. We have a great bunch of people. We have a great bunch of people. How do I know that? Because we get a lot of great comments. And the ones that people don't like or whatever like that, well then that's when we start calling the cars art. When someone doesn't like something or there's different opinions, it brings somebody probably liked your post that you've never talked to before in your life, and that brings people together. Art does. It brings people together. They have the same opinion you do, and that means that you can relate. And that's what art does. And if that little car disturbed a few people, I'm happy. I would never want to chop it, channel it, section it, and do exactly what someone else has done. That would be no good. They call me the copycat. 360 comments. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We do. We appreciate it. Nice to have the Susan Parody? Yep. Susan Parody. Susan's the first woman, I think, that has one here, maybe. No, what's her name? There's been another one. Anyways, I'll go on. Nice to have access to a junkyard that lets you cut your own. Most don't allow cutting tools. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But in that case, I was too cheap to let him go back and do it because, it's all in the price, right? If he had to go back and get it, that means that he would have to charge me to go get it. So I just pulled out a little bit of gump and went up and got it myself to get the price down a little bit, to have more fun. And to me, to keep the price down on these cars, it's way more fun than getting out of hand and having something that you've bought that you do not need. That's where I'm at. Thank you, Susan, very much for the good comments. You get a hat or a shirt of your choice. And I hope you liked that video of us mixing mud.